Hello everyone. Today's topic is rectum. As we have completed the abdominal lectures and we are doing the topics in the pelvis, this rectum is also an important topic for you. Rectum is contained in the pelvic cavity. If you see, this is the largest lower dilated part of the large gut. So the features of rectum are, it differs from the large intestines as they don't have tinea coli, circulations, appendices, epiplaque. As the other parts of the large intestine will have this, but this rectum differ from the other parts of the large intestine. Rectum is a misnomer. Rectum means straight tube, but it is not straight in the human. It is straight in only in the quadrupeds animals. In the humans, the anorectal junction is bent forward by the pull of the puborectal sling of the levator area. So this rectum is misnomer in man. We will see the extent of the rectum first. In front of the third sacral vertebra, it begins as a continuation of the sigmoid colon. It passes downwards in front of the sacrococcygeal curve, then extends downwards and forwards about 2 to 3 centimeter in front and slightly below the tip of the coccyx. So it extends from S3 vertebra to 2 centimeter below the tip of the coccyx. That is the extent of the rectum, where it continues with the anal canal. So this is the extent of the rectum, starts from the third sacral vertebra and extends downwards and in front of the sacrococcygeal curve, then 2 centimeter below the tip of the coccyx, where it bends downwards and backwards, where it is continuous with the anal canal. This dilated part, anorectal junction, is situated where this rectal ampulla suddenly becomes narrow. So that is the anorectal junction. This is the rectal ampulla and this is the anorectal junction. It corresponds in male with the apex of the prostate. So this is the anorectal junction. In the male corresponds with the apex of the prostate. Measurements: length is 12 centimeter, breadth is in the upper part 4 centimeter, lower part forms a dilatation known as ampulla. Curvatures of the rectum: presents curvatures in anteroposterior and in the lateral planes. So it is having two in the two axes. It is having the curvatures. Anteroposterior curves, sacral curve. It is convex towards setting as if in the hollow of the sacrum. So this curve is convex backwards. Perineal curve, convex forwards at the anorectal junction. This curve is caused by the puborectal sling of the levator area. So this is the sacral curvature setting in the convexity of the sacrum, and this is the perineal curvature which is forwards, this is backwards, and this perineal curvature is caused by the puborectal sling of the levator area. So this rectum presents lateral curvatures also, 3 in number, 2 convex to the right side, 1 to the left side. Upper curve is convex to the right. It is exactly at the junction of third and fourth sacral vertebrae. Middle curve is the most prominent curvature, convex to the left at the sacrococcygeal junction. Lower curve is convex to the right at the tip of the coccyx. So two curvatures towards the right, upper and lower, middle curvature to the left. So we have finished the curvatures of the rectum or flexures of the rectum. Now we will see the relations of the rectum. First we will start with the peritoneal relations of the rectum. The posterior surface of the rectum is entirely non-peritoneal. You see the anterior surface covered with peritoneum in upper two-thirds. That's how it covers the front and sides of the rectum in the upper one-third. In the middle one-third, only front of the rectum. So upper one-third, front and sides. Middle one-third, only the front. Relations of the rectum. In the male, you can nicely observe. So anterior relations. So this is the posterior surface or base of the urinary bladder. So this is the base of the urinary bladder, a pair of seminal vesicles, ampulla of the vas deferens, and the posterior surface of the prostate. So this is the upper two-thirds are covered with peritoneum, lower one-third is not covered with peritoneum. So this is the peritoneum which is reflected to the superior surface of the urinary bladder, so that in the lower one-third of the rectum, peritoneum is not covered. So it is separated from the rectum. So this posterior surface of the prostate is separated from the rectum by this fascia, rectovesical fascia of the Dinan biliary. In female, so this is again same, peritoneal relations are same in the female. Upper two-thirds are covered with peritoneum in the front. In female, it is related to the posterior vaginal wall. So this is the posterior vaginal wall, but separated from the rectum by the rectovaginal fascia. So this is the rectovaginal fascia which is attached to the perineal body. Relations of the rectum behind, they are same in both males and females. So in the middle, so it is related to, it is extending from S2 vertebra. So behind will be the lower three pieces of the sacrum, coccyx and the anococcygeal raphe. So is situated in this sacrum, we have the ganglia impar and median sacral vessels. Ganglia impar is where the two sympathetic trunks join in the lower part, that is the ganglia impar. Superior rectal artery. So these are the posterior relations of the rectum, lower three pieces of the sacrum, and this is the ganglia impar. So the two sympathetic trunks join. This is the median sacral artery, and this is the superior rectal vessels. So this is the superior. So these are the posteriorly. It is in the midline. It is related to these structures. On each side of the midline, piriformis, coccygeus, levator ani muscle. So these are all attached to the sacrum. Sympathetic trunks and the lower part of the sacral plexus and pelvic splanchnic nerves. Lower lateral sacral vessels and lateral division of the superior rectal wall. How to remember this is, the rectum is related to all the structures over the lower three pieces of the sacral vertebrae. They may be the muscles, nerves, arteries. So that's how we have to remember the posterior relations of the sacrum. Posterior relations of the rectum. Relations of the rectum on either sides, in upper one-third, they are related to the pararectal foci. In middle one-third, it is related to the pelvirectal space. And in lower one-third, related to the ischiorectal foci and their contents. So this is the lateral relations. So this is the upper one third, middle one third, and lower one third. So upper one third lateral relations, they are related to the pararectal foci. So this is the pararectal foci. So it will be present, sigmoid colon will be present here. Next is middle one third is related to the pelvirectal space, and lower one third will be related to the upper part of the ischiorectal fossa. Structure of the rectum or interior of the rectum. There are two types of mucous folds in the rectum, temporary and permanent. Temporary folds are mostly longitudinal in direction. Permanent mucous folds are called as Houston's bags. They are horizontal. So horizontal are the permanent mucous folds. They are semilunar in shape, situated along the concavities of the lateral curves, three curvatures of rectum we have seen. In the concavity of these curvatures, we have this semilunar valves like horizontal in direction, Houston's valves. So first valve is close to the rectosigmoid junction. Second valve is about 2.5 centimeter above the third valve from the left wall of the rectum. Third valve is from the anterior and right wall of the rectum, situated opposite the fifth sacral vertebra, about 5 centimeter above the anus. Fourth valve is situated about 2.5 centimeter below the third valve from the left wall of the rectum. So this is how Houston's valves they are represented here. So these are the Houston's valves present in the interior of the rectum. So what is this function? Why these Houston's valves are present? So what is the function of these Houston's valves or importance? Rectal valves support the weight of the feces, particularly in the man who is having the upright posture. And the valves prevent the passage of the instrument from the anus unless it is carefully passed. The cannula for rectal washing is usually passed in the left lateral portion of the patient to avoid injury to the Houston's third valve and for easy access for the sigmoid colon. If you see this Houston's valve, third valve is the most important and constant of the rectal valves. So in this third valve, sometimes the valve encircles total rectum, then it is called as latent sphincter. This valve is important embryologically also. So this valve, if you see the third Houston's valve, that will be the most constant. So it is arising from the right wall of the rectum. This divides the interior into upper and lower chambers. Upper chamber is derived from the pre-allantoic part of the hindgut, and the lower chamber from the post-allantoic part of the cloaca. Functionally, upper chamber may contain feces without the reflex act of defecation, and the lower chamber, when the feces appears in the lower chamber, defecation starts spontaneously. So these are the valves we have seen interior of the rectum. Now we will see the arterial supply of the rectum. 5 rectal arteries. The superior rectal artery is unpaired, and middle and inferior rectal arteries are the paired arteries. Also supplied by the median sacral, inferior gluteal, and internal pudendal arteries. Superior rectal artery is the principal artery of the rectum. It is the continuation of inferior mesenteric artery. Middle rectal artery, it's a branch of the anterior division of each internal iliac artery, and inferior rectal artery is a branch of internal pudendal artery. So this is the diagram for the arterial supply of the rectum. So this is the superior rectal artery, which is the continuation of inferior mesenteric artery. Middle rectal artery is from the anterior division of internal iliac artery, and this inferior rectal artery from the internal pudendal artery. Venous drainage of the rectum. They are arranged in a plexus known as annulus hemorrhoidalis, which encircles the lower part of the rectum and the anal canal. Internal venous plexus surround the anal canal above the Hilton line so that they will form the superior rectal veins. And below the Hilton's line, that will be the external venous plexus surrounds the anus, that will be called as inferior rectal veins. So the upper part of the anal canal and the rectum drains into the superior rectal veins, and below that will be draining into the inferior rectal veins. Lymphatic drainage of the rectum. From the upper part, left common iliac lymph nodes. From the middle part, internal iliac lymph nodes. From the lower part, again into the internal iliac lymph nodes. Also a lowermost part into the, as you can see in this picture, internal iliac lymph nodes. So these are the right and left internal iliac lymph nodes. Yes, adjoining the rectum will be called as pararectal lymph nodes. So this completes the arterial supply, venous drainage, and the lymphatic drainage of the rectum. So now we will move on to the supports of the rectum. Supports of the rectum are the puborectal sling of the levator ana, which maintains the anorectal flexure. Reflection of the pelvic fascia from the parietal to visceral layers around the rectum. And facial sheet of Waldeyer and a pair of lateral ligaments of the rectum. And also the pelvirectal and ischiorectal fat act as the loose packing material around the rectum and the anal canal. So this ischiorectal fat is an important support for the rectum. Development of the rectum. The mucous membrane of the rectum above the Houston's third valve from the endoderm of the pre-allantoic part of the hindgut, below the third valve and extending up to the anal valves from the dorsal part of the endodermal cloaca. Musculature and other structures of the rectum from the splanchnic mesoderm which surrounds the cloaca. So we have come to the applied anatomy of the rectum. So this perrectal examination is usually called as the PR. Endoscopic examination of this rectum will be called proctoscopy or the sigmoidoscopy up to the sigmoid colon. Rectal prolapse. Same like uterine prolapse, rectal prolapse is the prolapse of the rectum into the anal canal and to the anal opening. It may be incomplete or complete. Rectal carcinoma, mainly at the rectosigmoid junction. Piles or hemorrhoids may be internal or external according to the veins affected. Fissure in ano is the tear in the mucous membrane of the rectum or the anal canal. Fistula in ano is the communication of the rectum with the exterior or to the interior. So this completes the rectum class.